I've been working on this project for some time now, and I'm going to show you written the origin of it so that you can pause on here and write it down for yourself if you'd like to. This is started out as a blanket pattern. The Cosmic Cal was going on a few months ago. It's a design by Helen Shrimpton of Crystals and Crochet, and it was a Stylecraft Yarns sponsored crochet along, and this is made with Stylecraft Special DK. And so here is the really the original pattern, which is quite detailed. And I thought, well, this would look interesting as a vest. These are not part of the design. This is just some counting markers that I left in because I still want to do something with the neckline, so it's going to help me center that. So I thought, well, I'll do a vest. And then when I saw it as a vest, I thought, well, it looks sort of out of balance. So I decided I would put little sleeves on it. I don't want full-length sleeves for two reasons. One, I don't want a big bunch under my arms, and the other one is I don't want to break up the design. So I have this display stand, and I have a sweater on it here to give me something to pin to, and also to bulk this up a little because the stand is a bit smaller than my own personal measurements. But the thing I want to do with it now, I'm at a stage where I need to deal with these. Now that I've got the sleeves on, I wanted to put the sleeves on so I could get these positioned in some way that I liked. And you see they're kind of curled up and not really attractive at the moment. This edge and this curl need to be dealt with. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on hairdryer, which is what I use for blocking acrylic. And I'm going to see if I can stretch this out a little bit to get a good shape. And then I'm going to slip these through the holes in the other rows below them and anchor them, tack them in, sew them in. And then I'll decide if I want to continue some more around the edge, which I'm kind of inclined to do, and maybe come up along here a bit, and then also a bit more around the neckline, which is at the moment just got some simple stitching around it to hold it from stretching out. So it wants to have a little more done to it. So again, this is a blanket that has been turned into a vest with small sleeves. And how I did that was just to stop making the corners when I got to this size, of more or less the size of my back. And I just stopped making the corners and left them off and continued around with the design. So, and I could have done the shoulders a little differently. That might have looked better. I don't know, but I stopped the design at this point and just did plain rows with the intention of continuing a bit after that, because I knew there was going to be some issues with it pulling if I had the stitches going this way. I thought the weight would pull too much, and that with the stitches going this way, it might hold better. And I might be wrong about that. And if I am, I'll just put some decorative stitching in here to hold it up a little better. So anyway, this is going to be the noisy part now, where I turn the hairdryer on and see what I can do with it. So here goes. And what I'm doing is I'm relaxing this acrylic yarn. It's been sort of I guess you'd say stressed into one position by the manufacturing process, and now it has to be coaxed into a position that's not the same as it was in all that time while it was rolled up in a ball. So what I'm trying to do here is one-handed pin this out a little. And it's much easier to warm and then pin rather than try to pull and pull and pull and pin and then heat it up. So that's what I'm doing. I do this in the reverse order that some people show, but I find it working very well for me. I get the results that I'm after. And it really does work. It really does work well. So, you see it's spreading out and shaping here nicely. And I'm not entirely sure where I'm going with it, but it'll go somewhere. It'll finish somehow. And that's going to be a nicer shape than that. You can see already that's kind of a better shape. I'm going to shape this neckline a little too. It's really difficult to do this one-handed and try to not go off camera with it, but I'm not a professional at this. I'm just showing this because it'll be interesting for me later. And hey, you know, some other people might want to see what it is I'm doing. So here comes the hairdryer again. Cover your ears. To see a lot of my craft room and the way this is swinging around. I own and live in an old duplex house. It was built as two houses, and I don't rent out the other side anymore. So the other side is all what would be in garage, basement, attic, if I had any or all of those things. So you're seeing a lot of odds and ends, and it's not always really the cleanest that I would like it to be in here, but because the plaster is old and they used to be coal heated, and so there's coal dust that falls down from things, and well, it is what it is. So, not to mention that I'm the second house from the corner, and so there's a fair amount of traffic goes by and stirs up dust. But here I am, and here I am. And I'm doing what I can with where I am. Okay. So I think I'm not sure if that's exactly the same. I think it's pretty close. The other thing is that I probably should have blocked these sleeves before I sewed them on, but hey, you know. I put them on, I made a base of foundation single crochet, and then I did a row here, and then I went from the top back and forth, back and forth. I can crochet both right and left-handed, so I got some effects here that you might not get because it's all right side, and I can go back and forth, right hand, left hand, etc. And then I used a slip stitch into that foundation single crochet to attach it. So that's attached pretty good there. And then I'm going to use this color, and I'm going to run a slip stitch edge over here, over these joins. But I kind of wanted to get this on here first, because that was something that was kind of flopping around loose and making it not really very easy to handle. So here I go again. I'm going to heat this up a little more. Doing here while I let that front part cool off a little is I'm going to see if I can smooth this out a little, and it likes to be warmed up just a little bit and relaxed, and you can really feel a difference when you put your hand on it. It just feels a little bit less resistant to being moved. You can kind of see, I think, if you look at the two sleeves, this one looks kind of straight and relaxed, and this one still looks kind of bumpy. So I'm going to warm that one up now. No pattern other than Helen Shrimpton's blanket design for doing this, because this was faked as I went along, and I wouldn't have any way of telling anyone else how to do this, because it was made to fit me as I went. And there's actually there's a lot of sewing one thing over another and so forth as I tried it and didn't really have a good fit. These are not neatly matched pieces here, far from it. There's about this much more shoulder here, and this is overlapping it because I overshot the mark on the shoulder here. So it's, yeah, it wouldn't do very well in a county fair or anything like that where somebody looked on the inside of it. They'd start screaming in terror or something like that when they saw how it looks. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take these pins out and see if what I did by heating it is going to hold, and it's going to not spring right back to where it was. So yeah, I think that's a little better than it was. I may, when I tack that down, I'll continue shaping it, but I think it's a little better than it was when I started. So once again, there is no set of directions for this. This is high degree of faking it. So if you want to have a try at doing something like this, hey, go for it, you know. I'm hoping that this is going to be a kind of nice finishing bit over there. So there we go. It's been blocked, and it doesn't look too bad. So in case you were wondering, yes, Helen Shrimpton does know that I made this out of her blanket design. I sent her a photo of it some time ago, before it had the sleeves on. Actually, I was modeling it, so she got a good look at it, and well, there you go. And she knows that I'm not selling any patterns or selling the finished product. This is strictly for me to parade around downtown during Oktoberfest and see whether the local folks think I've lost my last little bit of my mind or not. Okay, here we go.